it's Leela, the proud Poly Kinky Queer Slut. Today's question is, how do you orgasm so easily? And it's true, I do orgasm very easily. Part of it is anatomy. Part of it is I'm just fortunate in my body, and another part of it is there is a natural increase in libido that happens to women in middle age, in mid 30s to mid 40s, and that is part of it. But it used to take me a much longer time to orgasm, and I used to orgasm much less frequently when I had sex. And there are some things that I learned about my body and about how sex works that really helped change that for me. So I'm going to share those with you, and or at least the key points, and hopefully they help you have more fun. So the first thing is that the brain is the most important sexual organ. That what's happening during sex is mostly happening in our brains. And we have internalized as a culture a lot of sexual shame, a lot of sense that sex is not okay, and a lot of sense that we're going to mess it up, that we're going to mess up sex. So there's like some of the books I've read have just referred to this as the brakes. We're constantly putting on the brakes. So in your brain, there's the gas, which is like that these sensations feel great. The situation is really sexy. This is something I really like. And then there are the brakes, which are those sensations that are like, ooh, but maybe they're going to get grossed out by my body, or maybe I'm not doing it right, or maybe my body's messed up, and or maybe I'm just not good at this and just not doing it right. All of those thoughts, or thoughts like, oh, I have to do the dishes. Oh, what about taking the kids to school? What about, oh no, I didn't do all the laundry. These things are all breaks kind of thoughts. So there's a practice, and I know I talk a lot about practice, but like having an intention and trying, and not really trying to get there, but just practicing doing this thing. There's a lot of practice with sex of just receiving. Allowing yourself to receive the sensation, because one thing that could be, all of those negative thoughts running around, if you can release them, like look at them and then release them, and just let that process of releasing them be something you practice, then you can have fewer of those break thoughts. And when you have fewer of those break thoughts, the gas works. Another thing that I think a lot of people feel when it comes to orgasm is that orgasms can be scary. And we don't think about it that way, but in our brains, some part of our brain is thinking it's scary. And so acknowledging that and relaxing into it, and allowing yourself to be comfortable with that scary moment of I'm in orgasm. Because the trick to multiple orgasms, in a lot of cases, is continuing the stimulation to allow the orgasm to run its full course and end and subside while there's still some stimulation going on, so that you can build up to the next one. So all bodies are different and have different sensitivity levels. This is going to look different for everybody, and definitely playing with your own body and playing with partners' bodies helps to find these places out and figure out what sensations feel good at what times. But I have found, as a general rule, that there is something that we have been taught to do to have orgasms that is incongruous with multiple orgasms. And that is that we are taught to clench and hold when we're about to orgasm. And that does make the orgasm happen faster. So if it's literally like clenching the pelvic muscles. And I am talking mostly about female multiple orgasms, though I have seen penis owners have multiple orgasms as well. And these same kind of techniques apply to penis owners having multiple orgasms. So instead of clenching and hold, when you're about to orgasm or feeling that like you might be building towards an orgasm, actively breathe, deep relaxing breaths, and work on relaxing the pelvic floor. So just relax the pelvic floor. You might squirt. And in my experience, I was afraid of squirting for so long, but most of my partners really enjoy it. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about what your body does. You might fart. All sorts of things might happen. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. Just relax and receive it. Receive the pleasure, and allow it to come through you. Allow it to fill your whole body, and then allow it to naturally relax, and then get to a resting place that is pleasurable again. And practice this. Practice this by yourself with toys. Practice this with partners. Tantric massage and tantric trainings are really helpful for this. The book Urban Tantra is really great, but it really is practice rolling through the orgasms, and then you'll find that they come more frequently when you can when you practice relaxing, and your body will learn how to relax more and allow for you to feel this pleasure. Another key element is that there's this concept that we are taught culturally here about simultaneous orgasm. That the men and women, penis owners, vulva owners, they're going to all come at the same time, and that is the climax and the end of sex. Well, that's not the best way to do it if you want to have multiple orgasms. Taking turns. Have a giver and receiver, where the person who's giving is focused on the pleasure of the person receiving, and the person who's receiving does not have to reciprocate. Because if you're receiving in your body, but then you're having to consciously think about, oh wait, I also need to think about touching this penis or touching this vulva in a way that's going to feel good for them while I'm receiving this pleasure, it makes it a lot harder for you to just lean in and focus on your pleasure. So multiple orgasms are a lot more likely to happen when you're less focused on the pleasure of your partners. Now, that doesn't mean you're not, engaged with your partners. Certainly you can be touching them in ways that feel good, but the focus really needs to be on what makes you feel good if you're going to have your body have multiple orgasms. And then also, it's perfectly acceptable and wonderful to then turn it around after you've fully recovered from your experience. Well, then maybe you're eager to give that experience to a partner or whomever else is in this with you. It doesn't have to be just one other person, but yeah, you can take turns. It's really beautiful to take turns. And then a few just tips about bodies. So one is that to quote a doctor who said something really asinine to me once, he said, a vagina can really take a pounding. It was a dumb thing he said. But genitals are not as delicate as you might think. So each of us has different sensations that feel good to us and that do not feel so good to us. And different bodies are sensitive in different ways, in different places. There are a lot of erogenous zones in the body, on the penis, in the vulva, in the vagina, all like the whole body, but especially in those particularly erotic zones. There are lots of different places that you can touch and play with, and that like different sensations at different points of arousal. So play with it. Circles are generally your friend when it comes to vulvas. So little circles, but also changing up patterns. And I heard one tip that was do the ABCs on a clit with your tongue, like A, B, C, D with your tongue, and or spell out words with your tongue. There are all sorts of things that you can play with. And if you play with it and have fun with it, then you're more likely to be able to relax and take the brakes off. If it's play, if it's fun, if it's low pressure. And then also, really we need to be cautious of just not putting pressure on ourselves to orgasm. And I know it sounds counterintuitive that the path to multiple orgasms is getting used to having sex with no orgasms or being open to sex that doesn't have orgasms. But it really is true. Having the pressure be on producing the orgasm it's a lot of pressure, and it's scary, and it's harder to get to a place where it's truly enjoyable if you're working towards that goal. Whereas if your goal is to just have fun with each other, if your goal is to just have fun with yourself and to enjoy sensation in your body and explore the sensations of your body, then your body's more likely to naturally experience pleasure and in a deep way. But it might take practice. It might take, like really approaching sex with the understanding that okay, I'm going to engage in sexual activity, but I have no expectation of orgasm, doing that over and over and over again to really get to a place where it's not stressful and the orgasms are welcome, but not required. So, I hope that's helpful. Those are just some practical tips to what has worked for me. And really, I can't recommend enough the book Urban Tantra. It's a really, really great book, and it teaches practical breathing techniques and practical advice on ways of touch, and how to actually, strokes and techniques that are good for the body, but also ways of thinking, ways of breathing to help produce the result you want. So yeah, I would recommend anybody check out that book, Urban Tantra, Barbara Carrellas. And yeah, I'll just leave you with the thought that practice makes perfect. So have more sex. Have more sex in situations that feel comfortable, because that actually really, really does help too. Making sure that you're sexually satisfied, that your body is not craving too much. Like if you go for a long stint, your body's going to be like needing release. If you go for a long stint of abstinence and then jump into it. So that might produce a situation where you have lots of fun. It might produce a situation where you're too stressed out to have a lot of fun. So more regular practice makes everything better. So you want to get good at anything, do it more. Hope you find this helpful. I'm Leela, the proud Poly Kinky Queer Slut. Remember, you can ask me anything, and have a great day.